How you doing, man?
Uh, as good as I can do while in prep. Or how about you?
Well, I'm doing much better because I bailed on my prep, so I definitely don't have the sunken in face like you. I didn't quite get that far, but I was getting close. I was about 6 weeks out. Are you pretty close? How are you doing a
Two
couple shows?
weeks,
2 weeks?
2 weeks out. Yeah,
Oh fuck. Okay, well, I appreciate you doing this, brother. I
yeah.
wonder, do you think it's different for like natties going through prep, like going through the grind time the last 2 weeks versus enhanced? Like sometimes I think it's easier for you guys, but sometimes I think it's way harder as far as like the mental state and just the
Well,
tiredness.
I don't know because I never used PEDs, but I guess that theoretically speaking, maybe the enhanced athlete have an edge if they're using stuff like a thyroid boosters, and anti-fatigue things, maybe the new thing, the GLP-1 agonist.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you are not that hungry anymore.
So is that's
Uh,
like banned from your organization, right?
yeah. No peptide, no GLP, no nothing,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, I've never used well I did use it. I haven't used it like after I used it the first time, the thyroid. I was just the kind that it made me not look good, made me lose too much too fast. And I definitely wouldn't use one of the GLPs. I just feel like that's kind of like I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I feel like that's not bodybuilding in a way. Like I
Yeah.
feel like if you have a health issue, like for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm a purist minus the gear. I'm more of like a 70s purist.
I talked about it to an NS guy at the gym. It was just 2 days ago, and he basically told me you're buying out your discipline. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, in a certain way. Or I mean, sometimes though, I feel like it's almost. I mean, they can be just as disciplined, and they're just pushing themselves just so much harder. Because it's like when you see like the natty guys who turn pro natty, and then they hop on gear. You're thinking like I don't know you follow it, but maybe like do you follow those guys? Like Quentin Beastwood or even like Kai Green, Ronnie Coleman. These. Well, Ronnie I wouldn't say is the example of what I'm talking about, but you have like Quentin Beastwood, these guys who were pros natty who did things like exactly the right way, and then you see them hop on gear, and all of a sudden it's like, holy fuck! But it's because they were already in that mentality and already doing everything like
yeah,
100%. Like a lot of people hop on gear and they're like doing 50% of their shit. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
totally. Yeah,
that
I get what you mean. I do not know any recent guy like around me that did that, except one with Samuel Hartmann, which is a French bodybuilder. He did WNBF, which is what I'm going to do in 2 weeks. He turned pro, then he did WNBF Pro. He won, and he hopped on gears earlier this year. I think it was mid January, and he's basically prepping, if memory serves correct, for NPC, and it's in the April 26th.
awesome.
And he put on I mean, his last bulk while he was natty, he came on to a 100 kilogram of body weight, so 220 pounds, quite fluffy. Now he's 230. It's just muscle.
Yeah.
So yeah, like next year is going to be crazy with him.
So does that like get in your head at all? I mean, you kind of told me. Have you thought about in the
Yeah, I
future
thought
jumping
about
on?
it. Yeah,
You
yeah,
see those
sure.
kind of you see those kind of results. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, there is both this side of the thing where it's like, I've done 13 years, like
How old
what?
are you?
I'm 30. And so, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Especially with now there are so many guys that are openly talking about it, at least around me. So they're like, yeah, you keep everything the same, bro, and you take just that, and it's 15 pounds in a few
Yeah.
months. And I'm like, wow, 15 pounds in a few months, damn. And also there is the fact that as a personal trainer, uh, I uh, I started to really push myself in terms of knowledge regarding endocrinology and biology because I had trainees that would come to me with health issues. Like one guy had a benign tumor at the pituitary gland, so his prolactin was overshot. It was
Yeah.
300. And he was on TRT, but then he was also taking other stuff. So to be sure to understand properly everything, I had to get more knowledgeable. And now that I know a few things better, it's almost like, well, it's like almost everyone at some point would be quite uh, happy, I think, or at least feel much better if they would taper off a little bit of thyroid hormones in their life And for older guys, just like, I don't know, 1 or 2 tabs of Proviron per week. I have a few friends who does that. The liver is fine.
Yeah.
Like they do not even look like they're enhanced, but they feel 1,000 times better just by using this Proviron thing like twice weekly, at like half a dosage. So it's like,
Did you see, does
I
that
might
change their like their sex what is it? SHGB? Does that change their readings with the proviron? What do you notice in the blood work?
they are slightly more hematocrites. They have less SHBJ, they have more DHT, so they have more testosterone, they have slightly less estrogen, they have more sex drive, they feel better, they sleep better, they're in better mood in general, they're more motivated, they have more energy. It's almost like they
The
feel
dick works
younger.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, am I going to stay natty just to say, oh, look, I'm natty? Or am I going to maybe one day just start using a few things, both for my health and my well-being, also potentially my productivity, and be open about it? It's like, guys, now I'm using that, but before that I was doing all of this like 100% natural. Or am I going to literally pop on the juice to really get bigger? I don't know. I'm quite satisfied with my body. I do not see any real reason to get bigger. It's just the fact that now that I see guys, up close that were natural, serious guys, and now they're up on that, I'm like,
Well,
maybe.
your perception changes too, because it's like what is
Yeah,
big to you now changes a little bit
yeah.
once you hop on. So, have you thought about it? Like, how would you go about it? I feel like obviously someone like you, who at your age, you've done a lot of research. I'm assuming you would do things smart and wouldn't be like super crazy aggressive or anything.
I honestly I have no real idea. I just know that you should have like a testosterone base and then add 1 or 2 things on top of it, depending of what you want and how you react. And that's just what have been said to me. Uh, but like I have no idea like what ester to choose, for example, the
Yeah.
number of if I should go oral or injection, how many times. I have no idea. So I guess I would just ask to other people that did it and then make up my mind.
Yes. So, are you doing like a string of shows, or you just have one show you're doing?
Come again?
Are you going to do a few shows in a row, or do you just have one
Oh
show?
no, just one, just
Just
one.
one. And
Yeah.
what is this? Is this like a regional? Does this qualify you for something, or how does this work?
Well, it's it's WNBF France, and if I place well, I think if I win my category, I'll have a pro card. So that means that next year I can do the pro circuit of WNBF.
Oh, cool. So is that something that you're shooting for? Do you have a shot? I don't know how competitive what it looks like. Do you think you can get that title?
A title as a pro,
Is that could you call yourself like Mr. Natural France if you win that?
no,
No, you couldn't be Mr. Natural
no,
France. Who would be Mr. Natural
no,
France?
no. This stuff does not exist in France. I know there is like the Ben Wader Naturals, like for the US, but there is no like equivalent
No,
in
but you could just
Europe
call
or
yourself that
France.
if you win the big show in the
Oh
WNBA.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess I could, but do I have a shot? I do not know because the level is extremely high. Well, Samuel Altman, for example, is blessed genetically. He's amazing. It took him 3 or 4 shots before getting it. Like he did a stringer of competition. He did, I think it was Dubai, UK, US. It was Boston, I think. Uh, and another one that I forgot. And he either won Boston or the one after that I forgot. So even him with his blessed genetic, his work ethic, and all the snowball effects that he had prior with his prep, it was not easy for him too.
Yeah.
And I'm older. I do not know if I am better. I don't think so. And yeah, it's really high top calibers. Like we see German athletes, Austrian athletes, Italian as well. They have crazy high level. So just doing a top 5, I think, in a pro show would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think.
I wonder like culturally if do you know if is like natural bodybuilding bigger there? I know it's big in the States, but I wonder if just
Yes.
culturally like if
Yes.
it's just
Yeah.
more of a
Yeah.
thing there.
Germany. Yeah. Yeah. Germany is like the steamroller of natural bodybuilding in Europe. Like
Yeah.
they have amazing physique. I'm pretty sure there is a genetic component to that, but they really take it seriously. Like when they're doing the prep, they have the trainer for the training, and they have either a specialized, the same trainer, which is specialist in nutrition, or they have a nutritionist, like a doctor who is a nutrition expert for athletes and strength athletes even. They have a psychologist, a therapist,
Uh,
primed for athletes,
that's
so there
good.
is a mental preparation. So when you came in, like when you come into a natural Germany Cup, you're like, there is no way they're natural. There is just no way. But they are. They are. And they have great gyms and they have a great work ethics and they are very knowledgeable about it, both the bodybuilding as a whole, but also about the prep itself, how to do like low days, high days, when to rebound, when to cut off, when to increase the steps, when to do the ketosis, stuff like that. Spain also is quite good. Austria as well. Uh, Italian are also quite good, but really it's much more. I think it's just French that are delayed on that. We're not serious.
So I've had three French clients over the years. They're all
Mhm.
great. None of them are what I would say like bodybuilder mentalities at all. What was it like kind of growing up in France? Like, did you get into bodybuilding young? Like, is it a good culture there? They got good gyms there. What's it like?
So I started training because I was 10 and I started to train just body weight because I was doing combat sport and I just wanted to be stronger. So I started to do push-ups and crunches every day.
Yeah.
It was what my trainer told me. He said my teacher, he said you will have more punching power and you will be able to take more body shots. So I said, okay, let's go.
What are you doing at 10 where you're taking body shots?
I was doing combat sport.
Oh, at 10, what were you doing? Was that the Tai Jitsu?
Yes,
So what is that? Is that Japanese Jiu-Jitsu or what is
yes.
okay, okay. So is that like the similar, but they have like striking a little bit? I'm not sure what the difference is between that and like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Uh, it's like we have everything. You have grappling, you have groundwork, like a BJJ. We have a judo component,
Is that
and we
what's
also have
different? Is the more
striking.
judo?
I think it's more of a striking because you have also standing striking.
Okay, cool.
So
That's cool.
yes,
So you started
so
that at 10 or before 10. That's
I
awesome.
started at 8 and I stopped at 15.
Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely that'll be motivation to start working out
Yeah,
if you
and I
can.
did also swimming. Swimming was 50-meter free swim, so crawl basically, and butterfly. And when I was in French, we say college, but it's not your college. It's like between when you are 10 and 14. I did track field, and I was doing 100 meters, 200 meters, and I was doing relay, with a stick. So at this base of athleticism, and I started the gym. I was 16, almost 17, and there was literally no gym around. I was just very lucky that there were two just near my high school, and I was able to get in one that was low cost at the time, what was considered low cost, and now it's just norm. The material was quite good. The gears were okay. It was like techno gym plus strength.
Yeah,
So
technology.
Europe
That's
was
big out there because that's Italian. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So it's not the best, but there are a few machines that are quite great, and it's okay. It's 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I started to train like that, and I was very lucky to have a lot of information through internet. There was like two websites, and I basically read everything, and I cross-reference everything. And when like multiple sources would say the same thing, I'd say, okay, five different guys tell me the same, must be true to some extent. So I did a quite good beginning. I had lots of good information on that part. I'm lucky, and there was not an overload, a flood of information.
Yeah,
So
like there's now.
like there is now. So I did not have to do much cleaning up.
Were you on the
You know
forums? That's something I've talked about before, is how the forums it's kind of like the cream would rise to the top, right? Like it would get
exactly,
self-regulated. So you weren't getting
exactly,
that overload. Yeah.
totally. You would just follow up the cream, and you would just ask them question, and they would be totally open to talk to you. And that's what about it. But in France, I was especially in my high school, I was considered to be like a UFO. Like no
Yeah.
one, no one would do that. Just me already doing combat sport and swimming. When I
Right.
arrived in this high school, it was like, why if the guy is doing sport? Why would you need to do sport anyway? You know, um, like bicycle is sport and soccer is
Yeah.
sport. Yeah. And then around 2016, so I was 2021, we had more people going to the gym because we had two or three influencers from YouTube that started to get big. So of course you have girls that wanted to have this little booty, and then was the guy who wanted the chest and the abs. So there was like a little bump of activity. And then it slowly but surely grew up. And in 2020, when there was the lockdown, all of a sudden everyone wanted to be outside and train. So they could have an excuse to go out, because we had in France, you had to get a paper, and if the police was controlling you, you would have to have a good reason. Are you doing groceries? Are you doing a are you going to work or from going home from work? Do you have like a medical, real important thing to do? Like, why are you outside? And one of the only way you could have 1 hour outside was to say, I'm doing my daily physical activity.
It's like you're a fucking prisoner in solitary confinement. You get 1 hour outside. That fucking
Yeah,
still pisses me off to think
it was like
about.
that. So everyone was walking the dog and running. Everyone was doing like push-ups and stuff, outside, etc.
So if you
And
just go for a
when,
walk and you see like a cop, you gotta like drop and start doing some push-ups, act like you're doing a fucking
yeah,
workout.
yeah, and like the one dog who was walked outside by 5 different person, in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
that's a
Um,
good one.
so yeah, and then after that, when everything reopened, all of a sudden, everyone wanted to keep training because they had either gone out of shape or extremely stressed out, and they just wanted to exert themselves. And then all of a sudden, there was a boom of gyms, and also with social media, now you have more influencers, you have more, even with online coaching. Just 10 years ago, online coaching was a joke. It's like, why do you want to coach me like from internet? It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Now it's a real thing. I do it, you do it. So now there is a lot more gym, and now in France we have there is a rise in the average level, especially with Gen Z, like the guys that are 20, 25 right now. They have more solid equipment, they have more basis of knowledge in terms of training and nutrition. So they have a pretty good physique, I'd say. Like the average is now okay. And now all of a sudden, like if I would go on dating apps or if I was working in the street, yes, I have a very good physique. Yes, I'm very well built, but it's not the same kind of awkwardness or like shock effect than
Yeah,
just 10 years ago.
yeah.
But as for bodybuilding competition, it does not seem to me that, except for a few guys here and there, like for Samuel Hartman, that we still increase the level.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the U.S. it's like I'm a little older than you. I just turned 38 last week, and it's like I grew up,
Oh, happy
Ar
birthday.
oh, thank you. Like Arnold was a big, huge influence. Professional wrestling. We saw like bodybuilders like in culture a lot. So it's like that's something I was always like really like interested in and wanted to do. And over there, I just imagine it's like you probably didn't have it in your face. So you had to get like a lot of intrinsic value from it if you did it then. And I was wondering, were you following? Were there any like French bodybuilders you were into? Did you follow any of the guys? I mean, I always loved like, of course, you got Serge Nubret, right? He's probably the best French
Mm.
bodybuilder of all time. Thierry Pastel, I loved his look. Are you familiar with him and all the French guys?
Totally,
Benfado.
yes.
Benfado was French, wasn't he? Francis Benfado.
He's from South America, South Africa, but yes, he was on and off in France. Yeah.
Okay, because I know he won Mr. France, but I wasn't sure if he was French. So were you into the bodybuilders when you're coming up, like into the IFBB pros and
The
stuff?
f- the first pick I ever saw that motivated me to train was Serge Nubret.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
he
yeah,
had a crazy physique, so wide, and he did such wacky shit too, right? But his chest was so crazy.
you know what? I know a guy that has his own independent gym and he trained with Serge Nubret. So I would always ask him, "What did you do? What did you do?" Crazy shit, man. Like 2 hours of leg extension back to back. Like he goes and Serge and he goes, and then Serge is like, "Okay, we're done with the warm up."
Yeah, I was just fucking. I heard it.
What?
Wouldn't he do shit like in the cold too? Like he would just be out in the snow and shit or some wild shit. I
Yeah,
heard, I heard so much
yeah,
crazy shit. Did you see
yeah,
him later in life? How jacked he was too. I
yeah.
don't know if that was
It was
healthy, but he
amazing.
was fucking huge.
Yeah, it was huge. In his 60s, having 18 inches arm, it's like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, crazy. Then to answer your question, no, there was no real IFBB pros that I was following, except at the time, after a few years of training, Lionel Bayeke, you
oh
know.
yeah. Oh, he was from France, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
Man,
was in
that is
Paris.
probably the most like disappointing career for somebody who had the most potential. I mean,
Yeah,
people say that all the time. He was like a cross between kind of like Flex Wheeler and like Kai
and Serge
Green
Nubret.
almost,
Yeah, yeah. And
Oh
like
man.
smaller Kai Green, yeah. And always, I think it was always visa issue or other
Yeah.
stuff. It's like, come on. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, he
all
came
the
in
time.
Dude, he would come in like at 80% and would win. If he could just come in a
Yeah,
little harder, he could have been a top three Olympian.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And he was training in a very small gym, old school gym in Paris called the REM gym. I went there once and he was repping the 140 on the inclines and he was like that. Like really like that. It was crazy. And the guy was uh, you know when you see something and you're like, this is not normal, and it's like your brain was telling you, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
him. He was in a hoodie, one shoulder was there, the other was not out of screen. And he was walking and he was not doing any kind of noise, like he was stepping silently, but it was this big, tall guy, extremely wide, like a space marine. It was amazing.
Yeah, your brain's just running through his whole history. It's like I don't have anything to compare this to. Like this is
Yeah,
this is something foreign to me.
exactly. Yeah, 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 exactly. It's like when you see a very good statue, like a 3, 4, 5 meter tall, and the statue is extremely well proportioned. It's literally a human but bigger. You have these 2 seconds of like, what am I watching?
Yeah, I love it. I see that. I still get that all the time. I work with some pretty big bodybuilders, and I'll just be like, in the middle of a session, I'll just be looking. I'm just like, how the fuck is your arm as big as my leg? Like, I'm not a small bodybuilder. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I just take it in. Like, I can't imagine just going through life like that. But
Yeah.
so I was curious. I was trying to, I wasn't real familiar with your stuff. People really recommended you, like, highly recommended me checking you out. And I just want to know, like, tell me about the name. How do you say it exactly?
Hersovyac.
One more time?
Hersovyac.
Oh man, I'm gonna fuck that up. Is there an American way to do it? How do Americans say it? Because I don't think we can do that. We don't say it. They just butcher it, right? Hersovec.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
And so, tell me where you came up with that.
It was actually a dream when I was like a kid or like starting to the teenagehood, and I basically was a Viking, and I was fighting.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Were you into Vikings before this? Was that something you had been like, okay, so you
No,
never thought
no,
about Vikings at all?
no, no. Prior to that, the only way I ever found out about Viking, it was really heroic fantasy. It's a comic book. It's French or Belgian maybe. It's called Torgal, and it's actually like the plot is basically it's a race of aliens that crash on Earth and they look exactly like human, and there are parents that are going to die, and they basically give their little baby to a pack of Vikings that were going on their ship, and they
Yeah.
adopt him and they name him Torgal because it was thunder, so it was four, and they give him a name Aegir's son because Aegir was the god of the sea, and so he's a mixture of both. And it goes into like very fantastic stuff. Like it's a mix of, I guess, Conan the Barbarian,
Yeah.
the romantic of a novel, not like the Black Horse comics,
Yeah.
and possibly some inspiration from Superman. But he's basically like a guy who was raised as a Viking, but there is literally nothing else that is Viking about it. So that's my only like before me doing this dream, this is like my only exposure to Viking stuff.
Okay.
And so yeah, I was doing this dream, I was fighting, and at some point I hear someone call me, like shouting at Slovak, and I turn around and then I wake up and I'm like, whoa, you know, and it
Did you
stuck
get to
with
the
me.
raping and pillaging in your dream?
No,
No, you
nah,
didn't
just
get
fighting.
it.
No.
Yeah, so man, I so did that get you into Vikings? Is that something you're into now, or you just identify?
It got me into the Viking things. I am a very big fan of history with big H,
Yeah, me too.
and like there is so much happened, in Europe, like and Russia and everything, and it's very interesting to see the golden age of what we call the Viking, which is just the Scandinavian, and the influence on the Europe, especially in the Middle Age. Uh, so yeah, I got more curious about it. I got more interested, and I learned more. A lot of things are very heavily romanticized. For example, there are still maybe this cliche of Viking being extremely proficient at battle. No, no,
Oh.
they were good at guerrilla and hit and run and striking where it's weakened or not very defended. And they strike, they fuck everything up, they pillage, and then they go out. But like in open battle, like shield wall, etc. It wasn't that.
I got really like not obsessed, but I get into things. I got really into Vikings. I was just really like interested in, and it was really cool to me how they were like you were saying. It wasn't a huge period of time, and it wasn't a huge period of people, and like it's something that is still so big in our culture, and so many people still kind of identify with them because of, I don't know, like they were like free, and and something about just like the romanticism of them, like we still hang on to. I used to watch all the Viking shows. Did you watch any of those? Do they have those in France? Do you watch any of the
Oh yeah,
Viking,
I was Viking. The
the one with
I was
Ragnar?
Viking, but yeah, with Ragnar. And I what was the name? Last Kingdom.
Yeah, I love The Last
I was
Kingdom.
just Last
That was
Kingdom,
really
yeah.
good. People should get
But
into that. That's epic.
yeah, but it's heavy romanticized, of
Oh
course.
yeah, I don't
But
think.
yeah, but yeah, but the thing is, what is good is that it's like with pirates. Basically pirates were free folks on sea and just doing whatever they wanted, and they were not necessarily like pillaging or aggressive, but they were traders and explorers.
Yeah,
And I think that every couple centuries or every couple of decades are just men that do not find a spot or a place in society for them, or there is just no room left. And so they have to do this quite extreme stuff to find a way to just keep going. And for Vikings, like we just maybe imagine a full society built around that, but it wasn't. Like most of them were craftsmanship or seafarers, or they were farmers, or they were merchants. And actually, what we call Vikings were raiders, pirates, or explorers. And most of the time, they would go out to find glory, but what was really more important was gold. And the best way to make gold was to find new trading routes, new trading roads. Vikings were associated with the Silk Road, for example, and they are the one that first developed a kind of network with middle, like the West Europe and the North Europe, and also deep inside the Europe, like Eastern, and then going to Russia. At the time, it was not Russia yet, but still, that was where the money was, because then you find new roads, you find new merchants, you always came and you have your rendezvous point, and you came in with wares, and they came in with coins, and so on and so forth. That's how also it developed in Sweden with no, Sweden or Norway, I don't remember, with Kattegat. It was basically the hub for the
yeah,
Viking world. But it's only 10% really of men that would do that. And then there is, on this 10%, as I just told you, it was explorers and merchants. And maybe the 5 other percent, yes, they were raiders and they were just seeking war. But
yeah.
most of the time they would not win.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for like just men, like I don't know, something about it is so like so I don't know, like obviously we wouldn't want to be fucking Vikings, that would suck. But it's just cool to think about. And they had like they held, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but right, but they were pretty progressive when it came to women, right? And like they would
Yeah,
let them hold positions of power, they let them get divorces and stuff. So
totally.
this is a time where all the other countries is like, no, that shit ain't happening.
It's the paganism influence, compared to the Christianity, what the time was extremely tight,
Yeah,
as you described. Yeah, but yeah, women had like they were basically equal to men,
yeah.
and there was absolutely no issue for a woman to ask for a divorce, as you said, or have a word or deeds like being lesser than a man just because she's a woman. And yeah, but then they got Christianized, and
The
it
women
there
got
is
pushed
still,
back a little bit.
yeah, a little bit, but they still, even to this day, like women are still quite respected. Feminism is something that in North Europe was immediately stronger than in other more traditional Christian countries in Europe.
That makes
So,
sense.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah, I like that. I really get into that shit. That's one of the one of the things
yeah.
I went
This
off on
is
a
a
long time.
bodybuilding podcast, and we're
Oh no, I
just
don't care. It's
talking
all good. This
about
is whatever. People want to know you and stuff. I'm sure they've seen all your clips about, how to how many sets and reps you should do. So
yeah.
one thing I was watching, I don't know if it was like a Q&A or something you did, and I really appreciated how like gracious with and thankful for your followers and subscribers you are, because I don't know. I think a lot of people start off like that and then they lose that for some reason, and some people are never like that. Like, can you kind of explain that mentality, like why you think that, and why you think maybe it's not the same with other influencers, or if they start the same?
I'm sorry, Jonathan. I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you
So
mean I'm gracious with my
like
subscribers?
you're very thankful for their time, for their attention. You're very nice to them.
Oh,
You're very like you appreciate that they're putting their time in and watching your content instead of feeling like, well, you're lucky to be watching me. You know?
oh, okay, I see. I don't know. I guess I'm that way because at the end of the day, for example, you give me an hour to be to be on your podcast, and you're my host. So I'm very thankful for you to choose me, to give me your time, and to allow me to speak with you, right? Well, if I'm doing a YouTube video, of course, it's nice to have a little bit of YouTube money. It's also advertisement for my services. But at the same time, people are working every day. They're getting up out of bed. They have a shit ton of things to do. And yet they're going to take 10, 15, 20 minutes of their day to listen to me. So of course, I'm going to be thankful because in our time, I guess the best currency, the most precious currency would be time. And even more precise would be attention span. They have my attention, and I'm thankful for it because they could be listening to anyone, but they choose to listen to me. So I'm thankful for that because they give me a chance first to earn my living. Second, I get to be spotted by guys like you, for example, to do great podcasts. Third, I get to have more sponsors, for example, and I get to make a name out of this industry because all these guys converged and were okay to give me their time. So of course I'm doing my best, I'm doing my job. And yes, technically speaking, they are lucky I'm giving out so much free knowledge to them, but it's not really free if they take the time for it, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I don't understand why I would change my persona around that, you know, like whatever if I have 20K subscribers as of right now, or I have 10 more, you know, I'm still a guy, you know, and they are still guys too, you know. So I owe them respect the same way they can respect me. If you scratch really hard onto the comments, you can find quite derogatory or even insulting comments, and I will answer them on the same tone, you know. So it's always about the respect, you know. But I'm not going to like to free bash you in the comments while you are nice or kind to me, you know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people probably start off with your mentality and just for whatever reason, as they become bigger and more popular, it's almost like they forget what got them there. And like you said, there's more options now than there ever has been for like taking up time for your attention span. So for them to actually tune into you, like I'm really like thankful. I always am like like I said, I mean, part of me sometimes I'm like, there's a million other people to listen to, and the fact that you're actually tuning into me, like that's humbling. So it's like I think that's pretty cool. I don't ever want to lose that. I don't think I will because just kind of how I grew up and stuff. But I do think a lot of influencers, for whatever reason, it's like they're not that thankful for their followers, for their subscribers. They almost feel like you're like they're entitled to them, like, so in a
Yeah,
certain
I
way.
think it's also. I think one part I was just thinking about it. I guess that you're a hardworking man, and you did not just snap your finger to everything you got. So you know the value of time, of working and dedication, and the commitment and the patience. So you know the real cost of having everything you have right now. And I guess maybe some influencers started out and got big so fast that they do not realize the actual value of what they hold. And that's why they're not so respectful about it. Because for YouTube, technically speaking, I created my channel, I think it was 2015 or 2016. So it has already been almost 10 years. It's just that I was not uploading. Or I uploaded like one or two videos and then I stopped for years and I
Yeah,
came back, and it
that's
was
what
a
I
huge
did.
problem. Yeah, it was a huge problem to be regularly uploading for me. It was because I had so much work on the side. I was working a 9 to 5 for years, or I was working 2 9 to 5 at some point, like having two jobs. And I was doing coaching. So, like to do YouTube, really good YouTube video, like with a good material, with good editing, it's a skill that I have to learn. And it's time, and I don't have much time. So, and it's slowly but surely snowballed. Now I have editors, video makers, with me. So it's increased. I'm steadily increasing with the production chain. But so I know all of that. I know how hard and how thankful I can be and the value of it. But if I was 20 again, and in 5 months I do what it took me, like let's say 3 years right now. Yeah, yeah, subscribe, like my shit, bitch.
That's funny. Yeah, I think I don't think that would happen to you, but I can see how that could happen to a lot of people. I just don't get
yeah,
that vibe from you, but
yeah.
yeah, to some degree. Do you do any in-person stuff or everything's online with you right now?
I did in-person stuff. Now everything is online. If I was to do in-person stuff again, it would be because I choose to.
Yeah.
Like uh, most people that ask me for in-person stuff, I just refuse. And the last two I actually did was actually my landlord, who is a pretty old lady. She had a banged up knee, and she had a low back problem, and she was so sweet to me and so kind. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to help her because she's struggling to walk up and down the stairs. She struggled to do daily stuff. So I took 1 year, and like we would see each other 2 hours per week, and I made sure to strengthen her legs and strengthen her shoulder and her back, etc. And at some point, she was like doing unassisted push-ups, and she was 71.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
that's like, you see, there is value with that. It's like, yeah, no, for this person, I will do it. And for the last person I did after her, it was a lady who was a personal trainer, but she was banged up everywhere. She had like two herniated discs in the cervical, two in the lumbar spine. She had arthrosis in one shoulder, in one knee, and she was scared she was going to lose her job because it was harder for her to do like a collective lessons, collective class,
yeah.
and stuff like that. And
You're
she
all
wanted to
fucked up. It's
keep
hard to show people how to do stuff like
exactly,
without looking bad. Yeah.
and she was having pain to get up in the morning. She could not stretch as good. She was kind of lost, even though it's her craft and it's her job. She just needed like a context, and you do this, you do that. And for a few months I helped her. She was amazing. She basically doubled their strength on RDL squat, became like she went from quarter squat to full squat with the same weight. As her neck was not hurting anymore, she had more mobility in the shoulder, so on and so forth, like shoulder stretching, decompression, etc. And so she was able to keep her job. She even became a teacher in like a PT school
Oh,
in
cool.
Paris, and now she's happier, and it was worth it for her and for me. But like just you coming up, oh, I need to do some fun. Can you coach me? No, no.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, people act like when you do something like nothing's 100% selfless, even though we do things for other people out of the kindness of heart. We like the way we feel when we help people out and we make like a bigger impact. So I totally get that. Uh,
Yeah.
so do you do a lot of like posing coaching? Is that one of your main things?
It's one of my main things. It's just that I do not advertise good for it, but this is going to change after the show because many people are actually asking for it. They even want like a posing, I guess, a posing ebook or like a posing lesson that you can just buy, and I tell you everything and then you can fine tune it for yourself. But yeah, I do a lot of posing coaching, but it's more like for my friend or like when I have people asking me that are doing competition. Other than that, I say no because the most of the guys that are asking me is just for pics for social
Yeah.
media. And I'm like, come on, bro, like respect me a little bit, posing on the stage and posing for social media.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same planet, guy,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I use a posing coach when I get ready for a show because it's so unnatural for me. I don't have the intuition and the natural fluidity. Is it something that you just naturally enjoy? You're good at?
I guess I'm not going to say I was great at it, but I was quite good at
Well,
it because
there's a I mean you can tell people who like have a natural ability versus people like me who's like I'm
yeah,
just
and
fucking lost.
I think there is the natural ability, of course, but I think it's also about um, the athletic background because I did martial art and I did combat
Yeah,
sport. So
that's true.
this proprioception skill of knowing what am I doing with my body and where I am with it in space, it came quite fast. I think for dancing people at wager it's the same. Maybe people who did gymnastic as well. And so yeah, because I literally learned posing by when I was training. Uh, my first few years, I was training in the garage. I was living with my dad, and I had a little home gym in there. And I was just every end of workout, I would put 15 minutes to watch Serge Nebret, Thierry Pastel, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mike Katz, Ken Waller, all these guys. And I would just watch, and I would film myself do it again. And I would watch, like I would film with my little computer webcam, and then I would watch again. I was like, oh, I'm not tilting enough on my arm. I need to raise it. Oh, I need to. Oh, okay. And then I would redo it. Just 15 minutes, but snowballing effect. 50 minutes
Yeah.
became 2 hours per week or so, and then 2 hours per week. It means 8 hours in a month. So 12 by 8 per year, and
That's more than most
that's
IFBB pros do usually until they get right close to competition.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I just did it, because I just liked it. It was interesting to me, and it's like bicycle. You can get rusty, but you never forget about it.
Yeah.
So then, right now, when I'm getting back into posing, I'm working, my mandatories, my quarter turn, my solo routine. My body remembers. it just flows back. So yeah, I guess there is a genetic thing maybe or like a natural ability, but it's always better for your mind and your self-consciousness, I guess, to outsource it to a pro, because that way not only do you have uh, an external stance to what you're doing, but even if you're best, even if you can film yourself, see what's in the back, etc., it's still you, and maybe there are a few things you did not spot. While the guy who is a pro, he will definitely spot them and tell you, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
wild because a lot of times what feels good, like to hold posture they're gonna pose, like that's not what's gonna make you look the best. Sometimes it's fucking uncomfortable positions to present in a way, and that was what I really noticed because I could just do like one pose, and then I work with Ken Waller, who's probably like the biggest posing coach over here. Do you know him? You familiar with him?
yeah.
Yeah, and so like he would put me in a position. I'm just like, that's me. Like my legs are actually bigger. Like I thought I had shitty legs. I just don't know how to pose well. But it
Totally.
feels so hard
And
and awkward to do it. But I just it's not something I enjoy, so I don't do it enough like I should. But yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy.
totally. And then there is also like a type of guy when they pose, they squeeze everything ultra hard. And
Yeah,
so they're exhausted, you know, and I'm like, no, no, no. 60 to 70% max and just flex here and there. Do not flex everything, you
yeah.
know?
There's some
And
muscles
then
you don't want to flex. You want to let them chill. Yeah,
totally, yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like the physique like open, you know, it's
yeah,
like all of a sudden they're like a new person. I'm like, yeah, you see, you
yeah.
know,
So
yeah, it's so interesting. It's like a whole new discipline by itself. It's a whole
yeah.
sport.
Yeah, and this whole new business that is becoming bigger online too. So that's something you should definitely take
True.
advantage of. I saw that you had like a wide waist training guide. I was curious about your thoughts on like the genetics of aesthetics and training for aesthetics. Is there certain like ways that you think you can train that will make you present your physique better, have better aesthetics, better classic ratios? How do you approach that? What's your wide waist training thing about?
Uh, there is always a genetic component, of course, but then there is also how you train it. For example, if I was to tell you, do not do incline press anymore, just do decline and dips and flat stuff, you know, you would tell me, what about my upper chest? And I would tell you, don't worry, your upper chest is going to work just fine, which is true. But your lower chest is going to get so big that your upper chest will be non-existent. And all of a sudden, your chest will have some kind of look that might not be the best, not be the most aesthetic. And the same way I can tell you, you know, just do hammer curl and do not do any supination curl. Sure, you will have thick forearm, you will have a thick brachialis, your biceps will still be good, but would you have bowling biceps? Not sure, you know. It's the same thing here. You know, it's about developing what you want in a manner of flow and symmetry to really highlight as good as possible your physique. There is a huge genetic component to that because there are guys that are training really hard, very smartly, and it's like the physique is not up par with that. And then we have guys that do focal and eat McDonald's and they look amazing. I'm not going to lie, it happens. You know how it is, Jonathan. But about this waist thing, it's about being mindful regarding how you hit, how flared up your stomach can be, learning to control your stomach, and also making sure to strengthen the TVA, transverse muscle. That is something quite overlooked. We just
Yeah.
know that you're going to brace on squat and deadlift and done. This is going to take care of itself. Sometime, yes, possibly. Most of the time, I think no. You need to actually actively train it. The same way you need to do your leg extension because just doing squat for your quads is not going to be enough if you want to have them the best they could be, you know.
So you think this is something I talk about sometimes is how people overtrain the rectus and kind of undertrain their TVA.
Yeah,
What are some ways that you recommend? Like, what are some moves you like to do to get that involved?
vacuum.
Yeah, yeah. And do you just
Just
all versions standing or you like
yeah, all version just do vacuum and learn how to brace with a small belt, not a strength powerlifting belt. Because on a strength powerlifting belt, you're actually bracing against it, you're
yeah,
pushing your stomach out. So you have this reflex of stretching the TVA, but at no point you have the reverse, which is to actually tighten it. And when you have a very tiny belt, like for weightlifting, for example, you have to do it. You know, you have to squeeze your internal obliques and your TVA to make sure to be totally stabilized. So of course you're not going to lift as heavy, but you're sure that your TVA is doing a shit ton of work doing that. But really I guess the fastest way and the most comfortable way for everyone to target it would just be to do a shit ton of vacuum, you know, not
yeah.
try to reinvent some exercise or do some weird shit while you're doing some cues on very heavy and dangerous lift at that. Just do vacuum, you know. and learn to implement vacuum in your pose. Because if you pose and while doing vacuum, you increase your vacuum volume, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Is there a way that how do you like to progress people in vacuums that have trouble with them? Like start on
Uh,
their back? Is that the first starting point? Back
yeah, I would from the back, then I would go
tabletop?
on their knee or
Yeah.
seated, and then standing, and the last one would be head in
Arm.
reverse,
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Whenever I had a hernia and I couldn't vacuum like at all, and now I can kind of do it a little bit. I haven't practiced a lot, but when I had a bilateral hernia, inguinal, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't get like the intra-abdominal like pressure to do it right. Like it would kind of get like one tiny section. Then after I had my surgery and had those holes plugged up, it's easier for me to connect to now. So that was
Oh yeah,
interesting.
because the oblique insertion on the tendons is squashing literally where you had your hernias. I
Yeah.
think that's why you basically just could not squeeze the muscle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was always so frustrating because I used to do classic before I went into open, and in classic you got to do a fucking vacuum. It feels like everyone in
Yeah,
classic does a vacuum. So yeah,
yeah. But now you have an advantage as an open bodybuilder because you know how to pose and you know how to vacuum. And
yeah,
now it's something that is coming back. Like there will be no
yeah.
more pregnant belly looking guy. Like it's done now. So many guys from classic up into open,
Oh yeah,
they still have a dialed in diet, the very slick waist. So
yeah.
you
I
got to
mean,
do it
Mr. Olympia's 300 pounds on stage, and he's got a vacuum, and he looks aesthetic still.
totally.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Do you think that like how important do you think strength is for natties? Is it more important? Is it something you focus on a lot with your own training, as far as like ability to put on muscle? Do you think strength is more important for naturals than enhanced? How do you approach that? That's a
I
question I get
think
asked
it's
a lot.
I think it's important for everyone, possibly a little more for natis that enhanced guys, but it's important for everyone. Best example I can give you would be to look at Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates, for example. Ronnie Coleman obviously was a freak of nature, but as he said himself, he was not necessarily a strong guy. Pretty big guy, yes, but not a strong guy. But what made him the absolute best for a decade was to actually train his strength. And for doing it, it's the same. If you look at his training logs, it's available online. You would see that the guy was doing reps with 4 plates on the BT and Smith press. Like for Kevin Lebron, for example. Do you have small shoulder if you can do that? No, there is no way you have small shoulder. And he was doing like 4 plates, 5 plates, barbell bent over row. Same thing. Will you have a small back doing that? No. But then it's just a matter of understanding that there is a key difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. And that is that on powerlifting, you will optimize your leverage, your biomechanic to lift as heavy as possible. We don't care about the muscle, just lift the weight. While on bodybuilding, you will put yourself in anatomically correct position to do as much work with your muscle as possible, for example, a hack squat or a Romanian deadlift, and you need to lift heavy in those lifts.
Do you
That's the main difference.
do you use like a lower rep scheme, or what kind of reps do you typically use for
We
majority
don't.
of stuff?
That's not the issue here. Whatever the rep scheme you use, because you can gain strength and muscle doing as little as 3 and as much as 30. And so, of course, it's the sweet spot would be maybe 8 to 15, something like that. But we don't care. What we care about is that whatever the rep range you have a correct selection of exercise with a proper form and a proper range of motion, and that is actually actively working your muscle. Because if you do the hack squat and you have 3 plates on each side and you do 8 reps, in 2 years, if you have 6 plates still doing 8 reps, your quads got bigger and you got stronger. So the rep range is almost irrelevant, or it's like after this progressive overload thing, and it's just what type of rep range will be the most comfortable for you, or what is the one that is going to leave you with the least amount of problem. Because going on again on the hack squat example, many guys would like to do 5 to 8 reps, for example, and the knees are going to say, no, 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 no. So you have to do 10, 12 maybe, or even 12, 15, for example. But as long as you increase, it's going to be better.
Did you ever do lower reps, or do you think there's any benefits at all to doing like a strength focus during certain phases of your early to intermediate workout
I
journey?
think, yeah, I think doing strength phases is key. Maybe not every year, maybe not all the time, and definitely not for every exercise. But I think that to bring up weak points and also even just to highlight even better strong points, it's quite key because sometimes it's just about your your CNS, your nerve drive, and how far you can push. And it always helped then afterward to bring new tissue, you know. So if you need this specialization phase to be committed to it, to make sure to do your 3 to 5 reps and to increase your strength, and then going back to lighter rep scheme, you're still going to have improved from it. And just it's just easier mentally for some guys to just say, okay, for this period of time, I'm going to work on my squat strength. And on this period of time, I'm going to work on my bench strength, for example, and then I'm going to do mesocycle for my chest and my legs, and I know it's going to be bigger.
Yeah,
That's about it.
that's something I always did when I was natural. Is I would always, I mean, some of the forums I think they probably talked about on there, but it just intuitively felt better to go through a little bit of a strength focus and then go back to the little bit of the higher volume after I could put a little bit heavier weight up there. Do you still do that at your experience level, or yeah? So
Yeah,
you still do strength phases
yeah, totally, totally. Like
with
for
the lower
example,
reps, like
yeah,
sub
for
six?
example,
Yeah.
yeah, for example, for my OHP, I really like to do seated press, like free weight, you know. But in my new gym, it's just not possible, you know. Like the the space where you have all the free bar, it's always crowded with power lifters, you know, and the wannabe power lifters to stay correct and polite. So I just do it on Smith, and so I was like, you know what, it's the Smith. I don't care. I'm still going to train my strength, and I did. In April or March, I did 120 kilograms, 2 plate and a half on a high incline press, 1 rep. You know, it's definitely not free bar, but at the same time, I could not have access to it. And, you know, I don't think there is much of a difference doing strength on the Smith rather than free bar because it was not accessible for me anyway. So either I do this or I do not, you
Yeah.
know. And it helped me because now I can rip out 2 plates for reps, full range of motion, upper chest, delt, everything is firing properly. And I got bigger from it. Same way I was doing strength on flat hammer chest press. I never was comfortable or feeling safe doing flat barbell bench press. Even dumbbell is a bit wobbly for me, but this specific machine I was fine. And so I did it first for a few weeks in my training, and I reached up almost 5 plates for reps on it. Uh, so you know, it's like okay, I did what I wanted to do, so now I'm going to switch back to what I wanted. You know, now that I can achieve that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also it's just fun, like mentally, right? To like be able to progress in a different way. Because once you get advanced, right, it's kind of hard to see physical
Yeah,
changes, especially as a natty. I imagine it's got to be
yeah,
really hard. So like to actually see those numbers go up, you get that sense of progression a little bit. Uh,
totally.
I was curious, is there anything that is kind of unconventional that you've done that has given you pretty good results, or anything that's kind of not mainstream or like approved by like the scientific fitness community?
I'm not sure how to answer that, Jonathan, because I do not follow much of the mainstream stuff anymore. But there are 3 things that comes to mind. The first thing is to train with cluster sets. For example, doing 8 set of 3 reps with a minute of rest in between. I don't know if it's mainstream, but I did that for years. It worked beautifully.
I think nowadays people are like so afraid of fatigue they don't do that, but that was popular for a long time. I always did.
Oh yeah, fatigue thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think you think about. I don't really think about that, but I know like yeah, Dr. Scott Stevenson was real big on the cluster sets. It's something I always did intuitively. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned about that from Jamie Lewis and Chad Waterbury at the time. It was really nice. I did 10 by 3, 8 by 2, 15 by 1. Very good. Training full body. I did that for years. I don't know if it's mainstream now or whatever, but I did that for years. Many people said, oh, it's too bad. You're not going to recover. It's
You
too
did that as it got
draining,
pretty
blah, blah,
advanced
blah.
too, into a pretty advanced.
Yeah,
Yeah. Was that
yeah,
like
yeah.
every
But
other
then,
day
then
or
I,
sorry, was that every other day
yeah,
or?
every 2 days. So like full body, 2 rest day, full body, 2 rest
Oh,
day, full
okay.
body. But then it was too hard, you know, especially at the end of the workout because I would start with upper body and I would finish with legs. And at some point, you know, it's too draining. So I switched to a modified PPL, you know. So it's been about 2 years now that I've stopped doing full body. Uh, Sometimes I miss it, you know, but I do not miss the feeling of feeling totally deflated and
Yeah.
gone, you know, after the training. But you know, I did that for years. I did that from 2016 to 2023.
Oh wow. How long were those
You
workouts
know,
if you're doing full body? Is it still normal time?
uh, the shortest was 2 hours, the longest was 4 hours.
Oh yeah, that's starting to get pretty long there.
Yeah,
Are you
but
eating?
it's
If it's
because
4 hours, do you eat something or drink something between?
yeah, I had an intra workout
Yeah.
drink. I had lemon juice, honey, and salt in my water bottle, and it really the 4 hours was just because both I had the time and because I enjoyed it. It
Yeah.
was not necessarily because when I was rushed on time or when I really had to be like effective, 2 hours, 6 to 10 sets per muscle, supersetting everything, I was done. You
Yeah.
know.
So you're going at a pretty good clip too, pretty short rests, or what's your normal rest periods on that if you're doing full body after the super set?
What none,
Yeah,
or just like to catch my breath and drink my water.
that's
That's
cool.
something that I guess I earned from my combat sport day. I have quite high work capacity, and I do not require much rest to feel like I can go again. So maybe it's also how my CNS is built, and that's why maybe I was so good with clusters. You know, three rep extra fast, very powerful. I rest a bit and I go again. It's never too close to failure. Maybe the last sets, of course, but I always felt good doing that. I felt better doing this than just like one top set all out, where it never felt I could actually get really to the end. You know, but yeah, on full body, I would superset everything as much as I could, and I would just go back to back. And at some point, I would just rest, to make sure to have my breath, etc. And I would go again. It worked until it didn't. That's simple. Now I don't know if I would be able to make full body work as good as I did prior because now I'm much stronger. Uh, but I'm pretty sure I could find a way still.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You definitely could. I know a lot of people who still do full body that are jacked as shit.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite pro natural bodybuilder level, but close. It's interesting. You were talking about how what you did as a child helped you. I really think that a lot of times what we do in our youth can like increase whatever our natural genetic limit is for something. Like our body adapts to it as we're developing. So that's something that I
Yeah.
think is well, I'm going to try to do with my kid. I'm going to try to do something to get him to turn into a fucking beast, get him to be body aware or something. So that way it translates to whatever they do, they'll have that kind of awareness a little bit more. Um, I was curious. So I live in Newport Beach, California. I mean, it's chill. I don't have that good of gyms over here, but like food stuff's really easy to get. I go out to Vegas to see some of the guys I work with out there, and that is like such a bodybuilding culture like city where you go and it's like there's 10 of the best gyms in America are right there. They have, as bodybuilders, we usually prep our food, but they also have spots that can give you like food prep to go. You can just run in there and just grab one if you weren't able to cook it. So it makes it really easy to like live the lifestyle. Is it starting to get like that more out there? You said there were some better gyms popping up. Is it more like culturally easier to do what you want to do out there? Have you ever thought about moving anywhere?
Uh, I guess it's slightly easier than before now to say that bodybuilding is part of the culture. Definitely not. No, training to be sexier on Tinder app, yeah. Training to be like a real athlete, like with real performance. We have a small bubble with street lifters. So it's like a strength competition. You do weighted dips, weighted pull up, weighted muscle up, and barbell squat. It's quite big in Europe. I don't know for US and Canada, but in Europe it's starting to get very big. Uh, Powerlifters that were all 20 aspiring champs are all injured now, so I don't know for powerlifting. But bodybuilding, yeah, no, I don't see much bodybuilders, like real athletes bodybuilder in France. I do not. But there are more gyms, so you have more access to training. Like you could go into a quiet place in the backcountry, you take your car, you drive maybe 20, 30 minutes, you can at least find a tiny little gym. You know, Prior, I don't think it was like when I say prior, like a decade ago, if we were not in Paris, Lyon, or Marseille, fuck you.
Oh wow. Where
You're
are you
done.
at? What city are you in?
Paris region.
Okay.
I'm in the West.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
is your diet any different as a natural French bodybuilder out there than what it would be if you're over here? You're doing the same normal shit, just fucking. I mean, I don't do anything
I don't
fancy.
know. I went 1 year in Canada. That's when I realized that in France, we really have great food. In Europe, like France, Italy, Switzerland, etc., we really have great food because the only bread I was capable of eating in Canada was ciabatta bun. So yeah, and the only cheese I found okay was old cheddar.
Yeah, you guys are cheese snobs. Are there a lot of people over there like that want to be chefs? Is that like a common thing growing up over there? No, I just the two French guys I had were chefs, and like
Oh,
I just wondered if I was biased because of that that happened.
we have a huge cuisine culture,
Yeah,
so we probably have more people that want to become chefs than maybe other countries, because we have so much stuff to do, culinary speaking. In the kitchen, we have so much stuff we can do. We have so much stuff we can adapt to bodybuilding. It's just that people are too lazy to do it, or it's just that they do not realize it.
yeah.
Simple. But I don't think I'm doing anything really different from you. Like in the morning, I have my fat-free yogurt. Like we call it what you call cottage cheese, but I know for you it's like a salty balls, very dry. We
Yeah,
do not have that.
those fuck my
Uh,
stomach up.
yeah, yeah. I eat once. It's like, oh no. But well, yeah, we eat white rice, pasta, potatoes, tuna, chicken, the same as you. It's just that for a few things, for example, for my own example, and a few of my trainees, I know that if I ask them to do a sandwich, it will be good baguette, it will be good Emmental cheese, it will be good ham with salted butter, and the macro are perfect. The aminogram is good. You have plenty of micros in there. And I know that if you do that in America,
No, might as well get a Big Mac almost. It's not that big
yeah,
of a
it's like yeah.
difference. That's
But I don't think we have much difference. I don't think so.
have you been? You said you went to Canada. Where'd you go in Canada?
Vancouver.
Oh, cool. Have you been to the States at all?
I wanted to, and then something called COVID happened. Don't know if you
Oh shit.
remember, and,
Yeah.
and I was locked out over there. So yeah,
Man, so you were in Canada when that happened, or were you over here in France?
I arrived. It was 21 January 2020.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
The lockdown was 2 months later.
Oh man, Jesus Christ! Like I said, I remember. So I used to I trained out here, and I would train people like outside because all the gyms were closed. And I remember one time like they were just trying to give me shit for training a 75-year-old elderly client outside who deals with like a lot of pain. I'm like I just lost my shit on them because I was like what they did over here was crazy. They taped off all the grass areas, so you couldn't like they would basically corral you on the pavement. And so I found like one section where I would train this my little old lady, and they tried to give me shit, and I just totally lost it. I was like, basically said, "Fuck off!" I go, "The cops are right down the street. Go tell them what you think I'm doing wrong and see." Because we didn't have like a law like you guys had over there. They were just trying to enforce all kinds of bullshit. But like I said, just thinking about that just still aggravates the shit out of me. I can't imagine what it was like over there. It must have been much
Now
worse.
in Canada, when I was doing my because at first we were just like, it was very easy. There was no mask, nothing. It was just, if you feel bad, stay at home. And if you have to go out, just do it for like real important stuff, like doing your groceries, important medical thing, and try to not cross path with other people. So if you can cross the other way of the street, and just avoid, being around other people too close in general. At first it was that. So I would do my sprints, like literally in front of my place at the time. There was a little patch of green, and I was doing push-ups and band stuff on it. There was like a neighbor girl that was doing yoga. She was right next to me. She was doing also stretching and stuff. No problem. Nothing like you. So yeah, it's when I came back in France, I was like, what the fuck is this clueless world?
Yeah, yeah, it's wild. It's kind of crazy. It shows you like kind of the mentality and herd mentality and the people can get when it all starts to happen at once.
Yeah.
I mean, what is your perception of America? I'm always curious when I talk to Europeans, just because it's kind of fucking. I'm pretty disconnected, so I don't pay attention, but it's a little wild over here right now. Do you have any thoughts or
Um,
opinions?
I think it's just that Americans have been getting too used to be like in themselves, and the world watching at them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I think
But
that's a good way to put it, actually.
yeah, but I think, like America was built by Irish, French, and mostly German. So
Yeah,
very hardworking people, very
slaves.
thorough slaves too, yeah, sure. Irish slave at first and then others are from Africa. But yeah, like hardworking people, they did their thing. They wanted to do their new thing on their side. And thanks to the two world wars, now they were the top number one. And it's true that there are superpowers. There is a shit ton of opportunity. I would have loved to be able to go to the US younger. When I was in Canada, I had a shot because I was literally like, I think it's 3 hours of flight from Seattle
Yeah.
and what's the in California? What's the main
LA?
city? I forgot.
LA.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where
yeah, LA.
I'm 60 minutes south of LA. So you ever come out here, let me know.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I noted. So yeah, because I was doing also modeling at the time because I was younger, so I was able to model, and I never could because of this lockdown thing. But I was supposed to see guys in Seattle. I was supposed to go in California, two different places. I had also a possible collaboration in Miami, but I know we still have in Europe this kind of mentality where US is still the land of opportunity, much less than prior, let's be real, but you are still not as fucked up in terms of taxes as us. You are much more hardworking. So if I come to you and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Jonathan, I have a project. Let's talk about it. Here is the checklist. Da, da, da. You want to try? You'll be like, hell yeah, bro, in France. Or you have to do this paper. And then we have to wait on that guy for 3 months. So he say yes, and you have your stamp, and then you have to go to the hometown, and maybe the lady is in good mood, she will tell you yes, and then you have to do this, and then you have to wait in 2 hours. 2 years later, it's still not done.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
While he knew it's like two papers, 1 week, let's go. you
Yeah,
know
that's funny. Where do you want to see when you come back out here? Is there anywhere particular when you do get out here?
I'd like to go to Texas.
Yeah, I'm from Texas originally. That's where I'm from. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to go to Texas. I'd like to see Miami.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to California to go to the original Gold Gym.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be disappointing at this point just because it's so different. When I first
Yeah,
moved
I
out here in
know.
2010, it still had some of the nostalgia, but it'll be cool though. It'll be cool. I used to see Arnold up there every Sunday. I would go up there most Sundays. I'd drive up there, and I would get there first thing in the morning. I'd see him like riding his bike up there and working out. We could see him all the time, so yeah, that was cool. I definitely think that
Yeah,
would be
but I think like as a bodybuilder, I still owe myself to do
yeah,
this pilgrimage to
pilgrimage. Yeah,
live in that.
exactly.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, a part of that, I guess I don't know.
What about Vegas? Do you have any interest in Vegas?
Yeah, possibly. Just to say I went to Las Vegas once. But a part of that, I'm not big into gambling and into party. So
I know me neither. I just go for the bodybuilding scene. It's really the best
yeah,
bodybuilding scene in
that's
all
what
of
interests me
America.
most. Yeah.
All the pros are out there, and some of the gyms out there are just wild. They've got some crazy, crazy good equipment. They've got the South Korean lines coming in. And what's the main equipment line you have out there? Do Techno Gym and Panada and stuff? What are the main ones you see?
Oh, I wish it was Panata, bro. No, we have Techno Gym, we have Matrix, and
Yeah.
that's about it. In the gym I go, we have a bit of armor strength, and Gym 80. Gym
Oh
80 is
yeah.
German. So yeah,
They have
like I
some
said,
nice pieces, right? Jim 80 has a couple decent ones.
yeah, we have quite decent. It's like Techno Gym, really. It's quite decent overall. You have a few machines that are quite worse than average. You
You
have
have
a
the
few
Pure
machines that
Strength
are
line?
very good.
The Pure Strength line from
Uh,
Techno Gym?
First strength line, yeah,
No, no,
you
the
have
Pure
two,
Strength line from Techno Gym. That's
yeah,
their, yeah, yeah. That one's not bad. They're Pure Strength. They have the plate loaded, the Techno Gym ones.
yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
they're
pretty
quite good.
good. Yeah, some of them are
Yeah, it's just
selectorized aren't the best, but
Yeah, it says that if you check, for example, the pullover machine
I
from
haven't
First
used.
Strength, you have to be seven. I don't know how the designer, like what they smoked, but it was good because you have to be 7 foot tall to make it work.
Oh wow.
Like the pad are right there. You want to do pullover, you're doing this.
I haven't seen that one. I built a gym out over here and I picked their kickback. Now in their hip thrust. I use those two for like the girls,
Yes,
but
they're good.
I like their pressing. They're okay. Sometimes the handle's a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, they're like that. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the row one is very good.
Yeah, yeah,
Very, very
the
good.
row is really good. I even like their
Yeah,
pull down. It's like not really like a lat. Well, it's kind of different. I'm sure you've seen their pull down.
yeah,
Their back
yeah,
stuff's
yeah,
pretty
totally.
good. What
And
brand do
you
you like
can
the
put
most?
you can put yourself
Yeah,
sideways also to really be like that on the terrace jaw. It's very good.
yeah. So you really like Panada a lot?
Panata, I really like it, but I do not have access to it much. It's not really well known in France, actually. That's so crazy. I
It's
just know two
Italian, right?
gym who have
Yeah,
Panata. Yeah, it's right
yeah.
across. But we have Plus Strength, Techno Gym, we have Matrix primarily. We have a bit of Gym 80, we have a bit of Armor Strength, which is very good. Maybe not the absolute best, but they're so fucking
Yeah, they're
sturdy
always
and
solid. I
yeah,
think
very
Panada's
solid.
hard to like mass produce. I don't think they're able to do
Yeah,
tons of those at
yeah.
once.
On one expo, I met the woman of the boss,
Yeah,
and she was extremely sweet to me, and she explained to me that Panata, they do not have the mean to do mass production, and
yeah.
that's why it's so hard to come by. Is because the delay, the weight, and the cost, and then the shipment, even though it's inside the EU. It's still something that some gym are just like, what, fuck it, I'm just going to call Matrix and I have 40 machines done.
Exactly. So I looked at Panada when I opened my gym, and they were They were pretty pricey. They were about as pricey as the most expensive stuff I was getting, which was Prime. And but they were just so big. That was the main problem, is they just the footprint
Yeah,
was so big in my I had a little gym. So I was like, that was what really kept me from getting it. But
yeah,
they got I love their back pieces especially. Yeah, they've got some really nice pieces.
yeah.
So sorry, I'll get back to bodybuilding stuff. I want to ask you one question that I always like to ask a lot of guests. Like, what are some common mistakes that you think like more advanced lifters make, like more intermediate to advanced? They've gotten through all the beginner bullshit mistakes, but something you see pretty often.
Uh, Two things, two main things. The first one is that they get amnesia. They forgot what got them here in the first
Guilty.
place.
I'm guilty of that a little bit. Yeah.
Same, same.
Yeah.
My best example is like Jay Cutler. You know, Jay Cutler, when he was doing his leg work, you can see him. He's like, oh, I like to do this because it pumps and blah, blah, blah. And I like to do my squat last because I'm wound up and I'm not going as heavy, etc. And I'm doing high volume because that's what he preferred. Okay. But what got him these big ass legs? It was him at 21 doing 7 plate squat. So you have to keep that in mind because so many people are watching Jay Cutler at the time and they were just trying to replicate his training. He already had big legs. He was more concerned about his hip and his back and his knee health at the time. And he was just mastering other type of progression. But what got him there, it's actually to be a brick house of strength, you know. And squat is the best example, but for incline pressing, he was doing 4 plates easy and so on and so forth, you know. And I think that advanced lifter forget that you have to keep getting stronger. Maybe not doing one RM, maybe not maxing out every week, but you still have to find ways to make your workout harder and harder and harder. It can be via density, it can be the rep, it can be the volume, it can be the tempo, it can be the choice of exercise, the order of exercise, whatever. But you have to keep getting stronger. That's the main thing. And the other thing would be to not realize that you are getting older because advanced lifter, I've never seen an advanced lifter who was younger than 25. It's always guys in their 30s and 40s. You're stronger. So it takes more time to recover and you are accumulating more, you're more beat up on average than you at 20 who was a beginner. So you have to respect that. It's not because you're getting old and because you're old you're getting like disabled. No, no, no. It's just you are doing squats with 5 plates or 6 plates. When you are 20, you will recover faster because it was 2 plate and a half or 3 plates.
Yeah.
You know, you doubled.
And you
Okay.
aren't as good at working out, at directing tension and stressing it out as much. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you have this ability with your nerves to actually push harder. This is something that not a lot of guys realize. But if you want to train high intensity, it is a skill, and this skill takes time. And advanced lifter can almost do it without thinking about it. As a beginner, I still remember when I was doing sets of 8, and I would feel absolutely nothing, just a little hot. And it's just that I was struggling. It was very slow, but nothing was burning, nothing was tearing, nothing was like very uncomfortable. But now, if I do a set of 8, the last rep, I'm like that. And it's really like my triceps are like, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
When I was 17 and I just had a plate on a barbell bench press, I felt none of that. It was just slower and slower and slower. And then I was like, okay, the next one, I don't have it. So I have to re-rack. But it almost felt like I did nothing, you know? Now I have 3 plates. It's not nothing.
Yeah, it's
So
you're so much better at directing it where you want to as you get
exactly.
older. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going
yeah. And
everywhere
now you
else.
have to respect that because when you were a beginner, you could do 4 sets of 8. No
Yeah.
problem. 4 sets of 8 is a stable for bodybuilding. It will be a stable even in 1 C3. It's good. But at some point, you're too strong. And so you have to do 3 by 8. And even at some point, you're so strong and you have the machine and the ability to go hard. So you know what? It's 2 sets
Yeah.
or even just one.
Yeah, that's where I'm
And
at now. How many sets do you do typically?
two,
Do you do
two.
any intensity techniques and stuff besides the cluster sets?
I still superset.
What's
That's
that?
it.
Superset? Yeah.
Yeah, I still superset. Sometimes I do 3 sets.
No, like
Um,
force reps or rest pauses.
no,
Yeah. Just
no.
curious.
No, the problem I have with these methods is that first I do not have the correct machine in most. Sorry, I'm losing my words. I do not have the correct machine setup to
Yeah.
do it. For example, if I want to do rest pause on a press, I have to start
Yeah.
from the bottom, which is the hardest. If I
Yeah.
was able to go from the top, it would be fine. But the problem is that I can only do that with free bar and the Smith. you
Yeah.
know. So I don't see the point of doing the rest pose just for them and not
Yeah.
the other. And for the fourth rep, the problem is that I often train alone.
Yeah.
And I do not see myself asking to a guy because each guy is going to assist me differently.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
I have no way to gauge the progress, you
They could
know.
take away work by trying to do force reps.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I keep my thing with a straight set. You know, I always go close to failure, never at failure. It just does not work for me to go at failure. Close to it, yes, but not at failure. And and the only time I would rest pose is if I have mismatch or I slide, you know, on the seat for whatever reason, you know, the sweat or my short was like in synthetic clothing, so it slide a bit, you know. In that type of scenario, I'm be like, okay, no, I know I still have more. Give me 10 seconds and then I go back up, you know.
Any cheating
But
at all, or you like to keep form like strictly uniform whenever you're doing your stuff?
Uh, I allow a little bit of body English on a few exercises where it's just too heavy and I know
Yeah.
I'm too light to compete against the weight. You know, for example, cable extension, I'll use a bit of, you know,
Yeah.
like that because I do the stack and the stack is literally
Holy God.
uh
Yeah.
three quarter of my own body weight, you know. And on dumbbell curl, I'm able to use 30 kilos, so I think it's 66 pounds, you know. So of course I'm going to a little bit, you know, to soak in the weight from going down with control. But apart of that, I try to relatively stay quite clean. And the only moment I feel like cheating really benefited me, or at least momentum, was on rowing movement, and on a few odd lifting, like shrugs, like doing power shrugs,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
high pull, which are essentially cheated upright row in a sense. I'm going to get battered by weightlifters, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I try to keep like now that I'm so strong, you know, if I do something too cheated, I either do not feel it where I'm supposed to feel it, or it's my tendons that say hi, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like I used to use so many intensity techniques when I was younger, but like you said, as you get more advanced and you can squeeze more out of your muscle, I think it's a little less necessary. I think probably the only like I was thinking of cheating. I guess the only thing that I cheat on that I really like to like do force reps by myself is like like laterals or something. Just
Yeah,
keeping tension still as you get fatigued.
yeah,
Just get a little bit. The problem is when people right, they try to cheat and then they like contort their body. If you can
yeah,
still keep like a relatively good stack and integrity. So yeah,
yeah, totally.
just curious about that.
Yeah, maybe it's also because of the time restrict. Like for example, if you don't have time to train, yeah, sure, do rest pulls or drop sets because you have to do a lot. You have to do the same amount of work in like twice as less amount of time. You know, so then yes, you can do drop set with the stacks. You know, three drop sets, you're done. You can do rest posing, just two sets with a rest pose. You're like with a dog crap system.
Yeah.
You're smoked. You know, all good. But does it make it so much so that it's better, or is just it's more time convenient?
Yeah,
You
I think
know,
that's a big part of it. Yeah.
exactly. Like if you have just 1 hour to train, for sure, go for it. If you have 1 hour and a half, do you really need this amount of pain and intensity more? For some, yes. For some others, you know,
Yeah. What do you think is the most mistrained body part? You think that people kind of like don't approach it the right way, even though they think they're doing things right?
oh, that's hard. I'd say either traps or calves.
Hmm. Interesting. What do you think about the traps in particular? What do they do wrong?
They don't go heavy enough. They're
Okay.
pussy.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty
Yeah,
accurate.
I can shrug 9 plate and a half,
Yeah.
and that's why many people think I'm on juice is because I have meaty traps.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
I have a strong point with the back. You know, like from right from the get go, it was easier for me than for others. I know it, but what really took me to the next level was to do AVS rack pull, hands and tide lift. You know, like rack pull above the knee. It was to do power shrugs, high pull, something called trappy, like from Dimitri Klokov. You're basically doing a cheated upright row with very wide grip, you know, and
Yeah.
you're yanking it right there. You know, all of that really exploded my traps. And I see no bodybuilder do that. They do that like they do low raises for upper traps.
Oh,
They do slow and controlled
use
stuff. They
those.
do yeah, the elbows out row, which is of course quite good, but not for the upper traps.
I see like the
And
cable a lot where they 80 duct and squeeze from the cables, which are fine.
yeah,
But yeah, I think you're right.
yeah,
Like upper back and lower back, you can make big by training ugly.
totally. And when then you check the strongman, strongman guys, they are not bodybuilder, but look at the fucking traps. And then you're like, how the fuck a guy who is just lifting heavy and is just trying to lift heavy for his sport has bigger muscles than a guy who is actively trying to get big muscle, all size, of course they're tall and big, but you know what I mean. And I'm like, no, 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 they are doing stuff that are working and we need to inspire ourselves from it. And one of the things that keep uh, happening in my training is the block pull at knee level or slightly below. And it's the shrugs. Sometimes I will do power shrugs. Sometimes I will do normal shrugs. I like both. I prefer a little the normal shrugs rather than power shrugs. For me, it's a bit wobbly.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. And if I don't do that, I do high pull, snatch grip high pull. And my traps are huge. And I oftentimes have a better back than juice guys in my gym. But the only traps development they have is the rowing, the little isolation stuff, and of course the androgen effect of the PEDs they use. So they
Yeah.
have like bowling traps. But mine look like real meat. It's like there is a density difference. And it's just because they are not training it and respecting it like a true strong muscle, which is probably maybe the strongest muscle of your upper body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No.
for the calves, it's just because people aren't serious. They say I have no calves, it's genetic. No, no. You are not doing 20 to 30 sets a week of calves. You're not applying yourself with the tempo, with the progression, with the overload, with the form, with the recovery. You're not doing any of that. You're doing 4 sets of 12 at the end of the leg day just to say you did them and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. I mean, Arnold had shit calves and they got good. So I mean, he's
Yeah,
proof. And he tells you what he did. He
totally.
fucking obsessed
Yeah.
about him.
And Liani was the same, and Sergio Oliva was the same. Samir Banut also was the same. You either train them good or you do not train them good. That's just the logic. And yes, of course, for a few guys that really, really have very tiny, short insertion with ultra long tendons, okay, sorry, that's just genetic. But for most guys like me who have like a medium, maybe a little short calves, just train them. Just
Yeah.
train them for real. 20 sets a week, you will see they will grow.
And maybe not last all the time too, you know. Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes throw them first, if that's the
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
That's also why I like superset because in between my squats and deadlift sets, I do my calves.
Yeah, so
You
you're
know?
just fucking jackrabbit bunny. You're just going nonstop.
Yeah.
So I have one more question. I was curious about your music selection. I heard you, what was it? I think you talked about different kinds of music you like to listen to when you work out. And one of them was white girl music, which I thought was interesting because I kind of do a little bit of that too. So tell me a little bit about your music choices when you work out. Does it depend on the workout or the lift itself? And then tell me what the white girl music is.
It depends of the okay. It depends of the stage I am at. Because, for example, off season or when I'm not preparing for a competition, honestly, I can listen to everything. I can listen to Mongol throat song, like oh yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
that. I can
Because of the
listen
Viking?
to.
Does that makes you think about the Viking stuff?
I also listen to pagan folk music, like literally Viking or like Gaelic stuff. I can listen to funk, to hard style. There is no problem. But when I have to lock in and I really, really have to get hard into my training, which is like right now, I'm in the prep. There is no like a little white girl music or like just I just need a noise, in the background. I really need my music to seek out myself. It's metal. Most of the time, it's hard metal. So like the video game Doom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh, like you see how it is quite brutal. There are two artists. One is Aaron Strider, I think, and the other one is Geoffrey. You can find him on YouTube. He's Geoffrey plays guitar, and he takes like very famous songs from video games or pop culture, and he remixes them into the argent metal style.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
it's fucking awesome, bro. Really, it's awesome. And I listen to that right now. And as for the white girl music, it's just that one time I was fooling around with a friend, and he showed me it's a full playlist of an hour to an hour long video, and it's the the thumbnail is very funny. It's always like a Doctor House or like some stuff edited, and it's like a white girl music on your way to surgery for testicular torsion. I shit you not, is the title. You can find it online on YouTube,
That's
and it's
hilarious.
like this is amazing. And so I just put it. It's an hour, and I was just train with that. And in the earpod, and I'm like, very good. It's funny.
Sometimes like the white girl music because they get so emotional. I'll feel because it's hard for me to feel emotions. I feel like so
Yeah,
sometimes I feel that I hear them and that'll get me like a little bit more pumped for some reason. But yeah, my music choice is pretty wild. If people heard my shit, they would be like, "What the fuck?" And it's changed
yeah.
a lot. Like when I was younger, I used to use it to I would get in a real like worked up state and a good mentality and just I don't know. Maybe I'm less passionate about it now, but now I'm way more chill about things. I think that happens as you advance sometimes.
Totally. Yeah, I had the chill phase for like 3 years,
Yeah,
and the only reason I'm not chill right now regarding the music choice is because of the prep. I
yeah.
need this. I need the argent metal with like the drop, and when the drop happened, then I start lifting because it's really helped me.
Time it.
Other than that, it's like I can normally I can all like someone is talking to me, and I'm like yeah, and I can do my top set while listening to them. It's not a
Yeah.
problem. But right now I have to. So maybe you also in a prep, at first you'll be fine, and then at some point you really have like you put your hoodie, you put your cask, and really have to be laser focused. Possibly not.
Yeah, I do, but not with the music. My music gets gayer. I don't know why, but maybe it's the trend. I don't know. Well, awesome, buddy. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you do in this show, and I definitely am looking forward to seeing what happens if you hop on gear in the future, because you'll probably definitely make some big jumps, man. Is there anything else you want to go over or put out before I let you go?
No, just thank you, Jonathan, for having me. Thank you for everyone to listening. And yeah, we'll keep in touch and let you know how the prep goes and how the show goes. Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much,
Let me know. I'll
man.
be watching you, and definitely, like, if you ever make it out here, let me know. Like I said, I'm about 45 minutes south of, like the most beautiful spot in all of fucking America, pretty much. So it'd be worth checking out.
Okay. All right. Noted. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
man.
All right, cool. Best of luck, man. Take it easy.
Thank you. You too, man. Take care.